Picture this. A noblewoman stands trembling in shabby garments. Wedding guests whisper behind gloved hands. Her parents have just disposed of her. Like unwanted property. Married her off to a lowly farmer. You see her tear-streaked face, the humiliation burning in her eyes. But wait, freeze that moment right there. Because of this story, it's not what you think. Stay with me, because what happens next will shatter every assumption you have about love. I'm talking about a transformation so beautiful, it'll give you actual chills. Hit that like button if you've ever been underestimated, because this story, it's for you. So let's rewind and discover who she really is inside. Lady Isabella Whitmore. That's her name. Born into nobility, but treated like a burden. Why? Because she doesn't fit their mold of perfection. Her crime? Being fuller figured in a world that worships thinness. Having a spirit too wild for their cages. Speaking when she should stay silent. And him, the farmer standing quietly in the background. Thomas Brennan, dismissed as just a peasant by everyone who matters. But watch his eyes, see how he looks at her. Not with pity, not with disgust, but with something startling. Gentleness. Like he sees something no one else does. She deserves so much more, he thinks. And you know what? He's right. But here's what breaks my heart. She doesn't believe it yet. 5 years of shame have convinced her she's unworthy. Unlovable. A burden to be passed along. And Thomas? He's carrying his own wound. Once dismissed as having nothing to offer the woman he loved. She died, thinking he wasn't enough. So picture this moment. Two broken people, both starving for the same thing. To be seen, to be valued, to matter. What would you do if your own family discarded you? Comment below, because I see every response. Now watch as her small hand trembles. The wedding vows echo like a death sentence. But then, something unexpected happens. His calloused hand gently steadies hers. Not possessive, not claiming, just support. And for one heartbeat, she feels something she's never experienced. Safety. But someone else is watching this moment. Someone who profits from their pain. Someone who'll stop at nothing to destroy what's growing between them. The mystery deepens, because one secret connects them, and no one sees it yet. What happens that night will break your heart in the most beautiful way. Have you ever felt invisible in your own life? Then you'll understand why she whispered. Echoes in your soul. Please, she breathes into the darkness. Someone see me. And here's what gives me chills. He's about to do exactly that. But the path to love, it's going to test everything they think they know about themselves. Are you ready to watch two people discover who they're meant to be? Because the transformation starts right now. Subscribe if stories about becoming your best self fill your heart. Because beautiful souls like you understand that growth is messy and worth it. The letter she burns every night contains her real name. The strength she's hiding will amaze you. And his capacity for love, deeper than even he knows. One secret will shatter everything. One choice will save them both. Stay, because you won't believe what she finds the strength to do. Let me take you inside Isabella's world and show you why this woman is about to become your hero. Picture the Whitmore estate, where beauty isn't just valued, it's currency. And Isabella? She's been declared bankrupt. Every morning, her sisters glide past mirrors like swans. Slim, graceful, perfect, while Isabella watches from the shadows, learning to make herself small. But here's what I love about her. She never stops fighting. Not completely. Watch this. Late at night, when everyone sleeps, she performs a ritual. Burning letters. One by one, feeding flames with her secret dreams. Why? Because someone once wrote to her, made her feel beautiful, cherished, worthy, and she can't bear to read those lies anymore. Haven't we all worn masks just to survive another day? Comment if you've ever felt invisible in a crowd, because Isabella's about to teach us something about courage. See her hiding a portrait where she looked joyful once, before the world told her joy wasn't hers to keep. But watch closely, because defensive walls are built around tender hearts. Her sharp tongue? It's armor, protection for dreams too fragile for daylight. I am more than this, aren't I? She whispers to her reflection. And you know what? She is. She just doesn't know it yet. Here's what breaks me. She's been taught that love is earned through perfection, that worthiness has a dress size, that belonging requires transformation into someone else. But watch this moment. A servant drops a tray, dishes shatter. Everyone expects punishment. Isabella? She helps gather the pieces, offers comfort instead of criticism. That kindness, it's who she really is, beneath the pain. Her wound runs deep, unwanted, unloved, starved of true affection. But here's what's beautiful. Wounds can become gateways to wisdom. Can you imagine being laughed out of your own home? Because that's her reality. Every family gathering, a reminder of her inadequacy. But she's learned something powerful, how to protect others from the same pain. That servant, she sees herself in that fear, and chooses compassion. The letters she burns, they're signed TB, someone who saw her beauty when she couldn't, someone who made her believe, for just a moment, that she was enough. But believing fairy tales hurt too much, so she burns them. Every single night. Why did I ever think, she whispers, feeding another letter to flames. Why did I let myself hope? But here's what gives me chills. Hope is like fire. You think you've extinguished it, but one spark can reignite everything. Her biggest fear, that she was never enough, never worthy of the love she craves. But what if the person who wrote those letters was closer than she thinks? What if the love she's burning is about to walk back into her life? She controls what she can, choosing which memories to keep and which to destroy. It's her only power in a powerless world. But power, real power, it's coming. In the form of someone who sees, not her flaws, but her strength. Watch her in the mirror, tracing lines of a face the world calls plain. But you know what I see? Character, depths, beauty that goes soul deep. She's practicing, being invisible, because it's safer than risking rejection. But invisibility is about to become impossible. Hit like if you believe people can be beautiful in ways the world doesn't measure. Because this woman is about to prove it. The embroidered gowns that bind her waist, they are metaphors for everything constraining her spirit. But those constraints, they're about to snap. Her parents control her future, treating daughters like business transactions. It's the world she knows. But it's not the world she's going to accept. That portrait she hides shows a woman laughing freely. No shame, no apology, just joy. And that woman, she's still in there, waiting. The real Isabella, she's been buried under expectations, suffocated by standards. But she's not dead. She's dormant, and dormant things can bloom when given the right conditions. Someone is about to provide those conditions. Someone who sees her worth when she can't see it herself. The letters burning in the fireplace, they're not just paper, they're pieces of her heart. But hearts, they're remarkably good at healing, especially when they find their missing piece. Are you ready to watch her discover who she really is? Because the woman she's about to become will inspire you to believe in your own transformation. Next, meet the man who's going to help her remember her worth. Now let me introduce you to the most surprising man you'll ever meet. Thomas Brennan. By daylight, he's everything a leader should be. Strong, respected, the kind of man villagers trust with their problem. But you think you know powerful men. This one will completely surprise you, because at midnight, when the world sleeps, Thomas becomes someone else entirely. Follow him now, through moonlit paths. Watch him kneel beside a weathered gravestone. Listen as he speaks words that shatter everything you thought. Margaret, I failed you. I had nothing to offer, and now you're gone. His wife, lost 5 years ago. Not to disease, but to despair. Because society convinced her that loving a peasant meant living without worth. She chose death over a life deemed worthless by nobles. And Thomas, he's been carrying that guilt like stones in his chest. But here's what moves me. Watch him with the village children. See how his eyes light up, how naturally kindness flows from him. That's not a pretense. That's his true heart. The part of grief hasn't touched. Give me someone to protect again, he whispers to the stars. And you know what? The universe is about to answer. During the day, he masks his pain behind competence. Make decisions. Solves problems. Earns respect through deeds, not birthright. But what drives a man to such extremes? Drop your theory below, because his motivation runs deeper than survival. He's fighting, not just for his land, but for the radical idea that worth isn't determined by bloodline. Every crop he grows, every problem he solves, it's proof that peasants can be noble. That character matters more than titles. But late at night, the mask crumbles, and we see the truth. He's terrified of loving again, of failing another woman he cherishes, of proving his father right, that peasants can't win love. His secret wound, once pledged service to a noble family, and they betrayed him, humiliated him, convinced Margaret she was foolish for choosing him. Watch him tend his fields, with hands that could have held swords in different circumstances. He chose earth over warfare, growth over conquest. That choice. It speaks to who he is inside. But here's what breaks my heart. He's convinced he has nothing to offer. That love requires more than he can give. What he doesn't realize is that the capacity to love is the rarest wealth of all. Every midnight visit to Margaret's grave, it's not just mourning, it's preparation. He's learning to forgive himself for being human. I should have fought harder, he tells the headstone. Should have made them see your worth. But fighting isn't always about swords. Sometimes it's about choosing love, despite the cost. His debt to Margaret's family. It intersects with Isabella's story in ways that will shock you. Because the noble family who broke his heart, it's hers. But he doesn't know. Not yet. Doesn't realize that fate is weaving their pain into purpose. Watch him laugh with the baker's son, teach a young girl to read, defend an old man's land rights. This isn't performance. This is character. He's learned something beautiful, that power used to protect others is the only power worth having. But his greatest fear, risking his heart again, opening himself to loss, choosing vulnerability over safety. The village respects him, but nobles see him as furniture, useful, ignorant, invisible, yet he carries himself with dignity they can't diminish. Why? Because his worth isn't their decision to make. Here's what gives me chills. He's about to meet someone who needs exactly what he offers. Safety, respect, the radical notion that she's in. His duality fascinates me. Confident mask during the day, quietly broken at night. But broken things can heal stronger. And healing is about to begin. That prayer he whispers, give me someone to protect again. It's about to be answered in the most unexpected way. The woman approaching his life, she carries wounds that match his own, shame that mirrors his guilt, dreams deferred by society's cruelty. But together, they're about to prove that love doesn't require perfection, just courage. His hands, calloused from honest work, they're about to offer something noble hands never could. Genuine tenderness, earned through suffering. The debt his family owes, it's not gold, it's justice. Recognition, the right to love, without apology. And he's about to claim it through the most powerful act of all, choosing someone society rejects and seeing her clearly. Are you ready to watch a man discover that his heart is braver than his shame? Because what happens when he meets her will restore your faith in love itself. Next, the moment that changes everything. Have you ever felt time stop, like the universe held its breath just for you? Because that's about to happen to two people who desperately need it. Picture the village square, bustling with morning energy. Bread stalls, guild flags fluttering, the comfortable chaos of ordinary life. Isabella walks carefully, still learning to navigate cobblestones in simpler shoes. No longer the gliding grace of nobility, but something more real, more grounded. Thomas moves through the crowd, familiar and respected. Stopping to help, share news, be present, in ways nobles never learn. But someone else is watching, hidden behind a merchant's stall, calculating. Wait, now watch, as fate orchestrates poetry. Isabella reaches for a fallen apple, just as Thomas bends to retrieve it. Their hands brush, she stumbles backward, startled by unexpected contact, and he catches her. Time stops. Not the romantic nonsense of fairy tales, but something deeper. Recognition, like souls, calling to each other across impossible distances. She looks up, he looks down, and both see the truth. In her eyes, he sees strength disguised as shame, kindness buried under hurt, beauty that has nothing to do with mirrors. In his eyes, she sees something she's never experienced. Respect, not for her bloodline, but for her essence. The person she is, beneath the pain. Are you hurt? He asks. And his voice, it's gentle in ways that surprise them both. No, she whispers. But they both know that's not entirely true. She's been hurt for years, just not by this fall. Their hands still touching. His callousness, hers soft but trembling. And in that contact, something shifts. Some ancient recognition. Awaken. I know you, she breathes. Not his face, but his kindness. The way he sees her, like she matters. And I know you, he responds. Not her reputation, but her heart. The courage it takes to keep hoping, despite everything. The crowd moves around them, but they're suspended in stillness, processing a connection that defies explanation. She feels truly seen for the first time in her life, not judged, not measured, just acknowledged, as if her existence brings him joy. He senses destiny standing before him, not the dramatic kind poets write about, but the quiet kind that heals. Someone who could anchor him to hope again. But someone else sees everything. Lady Margaret Whitmore, Isabella's sister. Beautiful, beloved, cruel in ways that masquerade as concern. How interesting, she murmurs to her companion. My dear sister, making friends. The venom in her voice could poison wells, because Margaret, she can't bear that Isabella might find happiness, that the defective daughter might discover worth. Back to our couple, still frozen in recognition. Thank you, Isabella whispers. But she's not thanking him for catching her fall. She's thanking him for catching her gaze, for holding it, for not looking away in embarrassment. No shame, he murmurs. And somehow, she knows he means it. Only strength. Those 3 words, they crack something open in her chest. Something that's been locked for years. Only strength. Not despite her body, but because of her spirit. Not in spite of her struggles, but through them. His hand releases hers. Slowly, reluctantly, like letting go costs something. And it does, because they both feel it. The rightness of that connection. The way her trembling steadied under his she begins. But what should I do? Return to invisibility? Pretend this moment never happened? Yes, he agrees. We both should, but neither moves. Because should and want are different countries entirely. The apple still lies forgotten on the cobblestones. A small red reminder that sometimes we fall just so someone can catch us. Your name? He asks. Though he knows her title, he wants her truth. Isabella, she whispers. Not Lady, not Whitmore, just Isabella. Thomas, he responds. Not a peasant, not a farmer, just Thomas. And in that exchange, they become simply themselves. The crowd presses closer, curious about the stillness. But Thomas creates space around them, not with authority, but with presence. Walk with me, he asks. Not commanding, requesting, offering choice, where she's rarely had it. She nods, because saying yes to kindness feels like revolution. As they move together, slowly, carefully, neither notices the figure following. The sister whose envy burns like acid. But we notice, and we worry because happiness is fragile, needs protection. Their steps fall into rhythm, naturally, like they've walked together for years instead of moments. The village suits you, he observes. Not criticism of her former life, but celebration of her present. It feels, she searches for words. Real, not performed, not evaluated, just lived. And for the first time, she can breathe fully, but breathing freely in a world that demands suffocation. It's dangerous. Someone profits from their separate pain. Someone who'll stop at nothing to keep them broken. But right now, at this moment, they're not broken. They're not separate. They're 2 people, discovering that being seen is worth every risk. Have you felt instant recognition? Tell me your story in the comments, because connections like this, they're rare as unicorn, but they're about to learn that rare doesn't mean impossible, and impossible doesn't mean not worth fighting for. What they don't know is that this meeting will ripple into scandal, that their stare threatens the safety each struggles to maintain. But sometimes, safety is overrated. Sometimes, being truly alive requires choosing connection over protection. Are you ready to watch love grow in the most unexpected soil? Because what happens next will show you that transformation begins with a single moment of truth. So here's where it gets beautiful and terrifying. Isabella begins her new life in Thomas's modest home. No tapestries, no servants, just dignity. The kind that comes from choosing a substance over Watch her, learning to knead bread with hands that once only held embroidery. See her face as she discovers satisfaction in work, in contributing, in mattering, through action instead of bloodline. I never knew, she whispers, flour dusting her cheeks, that creating something could feel like this. And Thomas? He's watching too, seeing her bloom like flowers given proper soil. But gossip, it travels faster than kindness. A noble with a peasant? Unthinkable. The whispers start in market squares, spread through taverns, poison every conversation. She's lost her mind, they say. He's bewitched her. Because society. I can't imagine love crossing class lines. Can't believe that worth might exist outside their narrow definitions. But what breaks my heart is how their judgment wounds her, how she starts second-guessing her joy. Maybe they're right, she tells Thomas one evening. Maybe I don't belong here. And you know what he does? He doesn't argue, doesn't dismiss her fears. He shows her who she's becoming. Look, he says, pointing to bread cooling on the windowsill. You made that with your hands, your effort, your care. Then he gestures to the garden where she's been learning to tend herbs. You saved those plants when I was ready to give up. Your patience brought them back. Finally, he touches her hand, gently, reverently. You belong wherever your heart finds peace. And if that's here, then here is where you stay. Are you crying? Because I am. Watching someone learn to see their own worth through loving eyes. But just when she starts to trust, the gossip turns dangerous. Margaret arrives with reinforcements. Noble ladies, influential men, all armed with social poison. Isabella, darling, Margaret's voice drips with false concern. Surely you see, how does this look? The implication that loving Thomas diminishes her. Choosing happiness over status is madness. But watch Isabella's face as something shifts inside her. Something new, something fierce. What does it look like? She asks, and her voice, it's steady, strong. This performance, Margaret gestures dismissively. Playing peasants. It's beneath you. And that's when Isabella surprises everyone, including herself. No, she says, quiet but unmovable. What's beneath me is pretending love doesn't matter. The gasp from the noble ladies could shatter crystals. Because Isabella just chose truth over approval, growth over safety, love over everything else. But Margaret, she's not finished. She's been saving the cruelest weapon of all. Tell me, sister dear, do you know about his letters? The words hit like arrows. Precise, poisoned, designed to kill what's growing between them. Thomas goes rigid, because he knows what's coming. The secret he's been protecting, about to be weaponized. What letters? Isabella's voice, barely a whisper. Then Margaret smiles, with the satisfaction of a predator, about to strike. But Thomas? He makes a choice. The brave choice. The one that risks everything. The letters, he says, stepping forward, are mine. The silence. You could drown in it. What? Isabella breathes. I wrote to you, Thomas continues, his voice breaking with honesty. Years ago, under another name. T.B. Thomas Brennan. The letters she burned night after night. The words that made her feel beautiful, cherished, worthy. They were his. All along, her world tilts sideways. Everything she thought she knew crumbles and rebuilds in the space of a heartbeat. She can barely form words. You made me believe. In truth, he finishes. I saw you at court functions, saw how they treated you, and I couldn't bear that someone so beautiful felt invisible. The noble ladies watch, like vultures, waiting for the explosion, the dramatic collapse of their impossible love. But Isabella, she does something no one expects. She reaches for courage she's never had and grabs it tight. You saw me, she whispers. Wonder, replacing shock. Even then, you saw me. Because here's what Margaret didn't understand about her sister's heart. It doesn't break from the truth. It breaks from lie. And Thomas? He told her the truth. Finally, completely. I loved you, he says, before I knew your name. Before I knew you'd never be mine to love. The crowd expected scandal, drama, destruction. Instead, they're witnessing something rare, something beautiful. Love choosing itself. Despite obstacles, despite judgment, despite everything that says it shouldn't exist. But Margaret, she has one more arrow in her quiver. How romantic, she sneers. But tell her, Thomas, about your debt, about what you owe our family. The color drains from Thomas's face. Because that secret, it changes everything. What debt? Isabella asks. But her voice, it's stronger now, ready for truth, whatever the cost. And Thomas, he looks at her, with such love, such regret. My family, he begins, once served yours. We were dismissed, in disgrace. Your father claimed we stole from him. The lie that destroyed his first chance at love, that drove Margaret to despair, that branded him, the criminal. But you didn't, Isabella says. Not a question, a statement, because she knows. His character, his honor. No, he confirms. But proving innocence and being believed, Those are different things. The debt isn't money, it's justice. Recognition, the right to love without shame. And suddenly, Isabella understands. Why did he hide? Why did he use another name? Why loving her feels like revolution? So you see, Margaret concludes triumphantly. This match is impossible, scandalous, doomed. But Isabella, she's done letting others define her possibilities. The only thing impossible, she says, voice ringing like bells, is continuing to live as someone I'm not. And then, she does something that stops every heart present. She takes Thomas's hand. Publicly. Boldly. Without apology. If loving him makes me scandalous, she declares, then scandalous is who I choose to be. The gasps, the whispers, the shock. It all fades into background noise. Because at this moment, two people are choosing each other. Truth, love, over everything else. But Margaret's eyes, they burn with rage. Because her plan backfired spectacularly. Instead of destroying their love, she made it stronger, more intentional, more unstoppable. Have you ever had to choose between safety and love? Share below, because what happens next will show you the power of choosing courageously. With you, I do not pretend, Thomas whispers. And Isabella finally understands what home feels like. But their greatest test, it's still coming. Everything you thought you knew was wrong. And I'm about to break your heart before I heal it completely. Because the truth, it's more devastating and more beautiful than anything you imagined. Picture Thomas and Isabella, finally honest, finally hopeful, building something real on the foundation of shared truth. But Margaret, she's not finished destroying them. She's been watching, waiting, and now she strikes with precision. Tell me, dear Thomas, she says, voice dripping poison. Does Isabella know about your wife? Isabella turns, confusion clouding her features. Your wife? Thomas goes pale, because the secret he's carried is about to shatter everything. Margaret, he begins. His first wife. The woman who chose death over disgrace. But Margaret Whitmore, she twists the knife deeper. Oh, not just any wife, she continues. Our Margaret, our sister. The silence. It's deafening. Isabella staggers, like she's been struck, because it's impossible, just became reality. Your sister, she whispers, looking between them, trying to understand how love became betrayal. And Thomas? He breaks, completely. Finally. She loved me, he says, voice raw with pain. And I loved her. But your family, they destroyed us. The story pours out, like blood from a wound. Margaret Whitmore, the middle sister, beautiful, beloved, secret rebel who fell in love with a peasant. She met Thomas at a village festival, saw past his station to his heart. They exchanged letters, made promises, dreamed of impossible futures. But when her family discovered the relationship, they gave her a choice, Thomas continues. Marry the nobleman they'd chosen, or watch them destroy me. Publicly, completely. Isabella's world tilts again. Because she remembers that Margaret, the sister who died of mysterious illness, she chose you. Isabella breathes. Understanding dawn, like a horrible sunrise. She chose love, Thomas confirms, and it killed her. Because Margaret Whitmore couldn't bear living as a nobleman's wife, couldn't survive betraying her heart. So she faded, stopped eating, stopped hoping, let grief consume her. I wasn't enough, Thomas whispers. Couldn't protect her, couldn't save her from your family's cruelty. And Isabella? She's seeing everything clearly. For the first time, the debt isn't financial. It's blood. Justice for a sister, destroyed by noble pride. Her family killed his wife, her sister, through sheer, suffocating expectation. But Margaret Whitmore, she's just getting started. So you see, she says, satisfaction dripping from every word. He's using you to get revenge, to hurt us, through you. The accusation lands like a blade between ribs. Isabella looks at Thomas, searching his face, looking for truth in the wreckage of revelation. Is that true? She asks. Voice small, broken. And Thomas? He could lie, could protect them both, but he's learned that lies destroy everything. At first, he admits, yes, I thought, if I could make them care about you, then break your heart, it would be justice. The words, each one a small death. But then, he continues, I met you, really met you, and revenge became impossible. Why? Isabella whispers. Because I fell in love, he says simply, with your courage, your kindness, your incredible, stubborn hope. He steps closer, carefully, like approaching a wounded animal. You're not her replacement, he says fiercely. You're not revenge. You're everything I never thought to hope for. But Isabella, she's drowning in revelation, in betrayal, in the cruel mathematics of love and loss. Has your heart ever broken in one sentence? Share below, because what she says next will shatter you. So it was you, she breathes. All along, the letters, the love, the lie. Not lies, Thomas insists. I meant every word, but you meant them for revenge. I meant them for healing. The distinction matters. But does it matter enough? Isabella turns away, can't bear looking at him, at the face she's learned to trust, to love. I need, she starts. But I can't finish, because what does she need? Air, space, time, to rebuild her understanding of everything. Time, Thomas says gently. You need time, and that kindness, that understanding, it almost breaks her completely. Because even now, even in her anger, he sees her clearly, knows what she needs. Before she does, Margaret Whitmore watches, with satisfaction. Mission accomplished. Love destroyed. Order restored. But she's underestimated something crucial about both of them. Isabella may be shattered, but she's not broken. Not anymore. And Thomas, he's learned that love requires courage, not just to find it, but to fight for it. That night, they separate. He returns to Fields. She walks aimlessly through village streets, both drowning in the complexity of truth. Because love isn't simple when it carries history, when it's built on graves of previous dreams. Isabella finds herself at Margaret's burial site, her sister, Thomas's first love. What would you want? She whispers to the headstone. What would bring you peace? And in the silence, she hears something, not words, but understanding. Margaret chose love over everything, and died, still choosing it. Would she want that same love to die with her? Or would she want it to heal, to grow, to prove that love wins? Meanwhile, Thomas sits in his empty house, surrounded by reminders of the life he almost built, the happiness he almost claimed. I'm sorry, he tells Margaret's memory. I thought loving her would honor you. But maybe it just dishonors us all. But grief has taught him something, that love isn't finite, that honoring the dead doesn't require rejecting the living. Margaret would want his happiness, his healing, his chance at love without tragedy. Dawn breaks over two broken people, both carrying pieces of shattered dreams. But broken things can be beautiful, can be repaired with gold in the cracks. The question isn't whether they can forgive. It's whether they can choose love over safety, truth over comfort, each other over everything else. Have you ever discovered a truth that undid your whole life? Because what happens next will show you that sometimes destruction is just preparation for rebuilding. Everything is stronger. Everything is more honest. Everything else, beautiful. Are you ready to watch them choose? Because the choice they make will restore your faith in love itself. The words that change everything forever are about to be spoken. Finally, the words he never dared to speak. If you believe people can change, this is your moment. Because what Thomas and Isabella do next will give you actual chills. They isolate for 3 days, both drowning in despair, both convinced that love isn't worth the cost. But here's what I love about broken hearts. They force decisions, clarifying choices between who you've been and who you choose to become. Isabella stands before her mirror, the same mirror where she once whispered, I am more than this, aren't I? Now she knows the answer. I am enough, she says clearly. No question. Statement. Truth. Because Thomas taught her to see herself clearly, and that gift, it doesn't disappear with betrayal. Meanwhile, Thomas visits Margaret's grave, one last time. I loved you, he tells the headstone. But loving her doesn't diminish that. It honors it. Because Margaret chose love, despite the consequences, and honoring her memory means choosing it again. Both are discovering something beautiful. Self-worth, independent of others' approval. Love as strength, not weakness. And that discovery, it changes everything. Isabella makes her first brave choice. She walks to the village square, where gossip lives, where judgment thrives, and she speaks her truth. You want to know about the noble and the peasant? Her voice carries across the square, strong, clear, unashamed. Here's what I know. He saw me when I was invisible, valued me when I felt worthless, loved me when I couldn't love myself. The crowd murmurs, unsure whether to admire or condemn. You think love should follow bloodlines? That worth comes from titles? She laughs, and it's not bitter, it's free. I've lived that life, starved, in golden cages. And I choose this. I baked gardens I tend. Love I earned through being myself. The villagers, they're listening, really listening, because authenticity has power. But Thomas, he's making his own choice, his own declaration of war. He rides to the Whitmore estate, past guards, through gates, into the heart of enemy territory. And when he stands before Isabella's father, his voice doesn't waver. Lord Whitmore, he begins, I've come to claim what's mine. The nobleman laughs until he sees Thomas's face. See the determination burning there. Your daughter, Thomas continues, chose me, not for my land, not for my status, for who I am, when everything else is stripped away. You have nothing, Lord Whitmore sneers. I have everything, Thomas corrects. I have her heart, her respect, her trust, that I'll protect what matters most. And then, he does something that shocks everyone. He kneels, not in submission, in a proposal. I'm asking, he says clearly, for your blessing, not because I need it, but because she deserves it. The courage to humble himself, not from weakness, but from love. Lord Whitmore stares, speechless, because this peasant just taught him something about honor. But the real surprise comes from behind them. Father, Isabella's voice rings through the hall. You'll give it. She followed him. Of course she did, because they're stronger together. Isabella, her father begins. No, she interrupts. I've listened to your judgment my entire life. Now, you'll listen to mine. She moves to Thomas's side and kneels with him. Equal partners, united front. This man, she says, voice steady, taught me to love myself, to see worth beyond mirrors and scales and social climbing. She takes Thomas's hand, publicly, boldly. If you want me, in your family, he comes too. If you can't accept him, then you've lost us both. The ultimatum hangs in expensive air. But here's what's beautiful. She's not asking for approval. She's stating, turn, love me as I am, or lose me completely. Lord Whitmore looks between them, sees something he never expected. Dignity, partnership, genuine happiness. His daughter, radiant with self-worth, strong in ways titles never taught. The debt, he begins weakly. There is no debt, Thomas says firmly. There was injustice, cruelty, but we're choosing forgiveness over revenge. Margaret's death honors love, Isabella finishes, by letting it grow instead of die with her. The silence stretches, pregnant with possibility. Finally, Lord Whitmore nods. Slowly, reluctantly, but genuine. If this is what makes you strong, he says to Isabella, then I accept. The words, they're not enthusiasm, but they're enough. Because sometimes, acceptance is the first step toward love. Thomas and Isabella rise together, hand in hand, heart to heart. They've done it, claimed their right to choose each other. But the real victory is not social acceptance. It's self-acceptance. The radical notion that their love needs no permission but their own. If redemption stories move you, smash that like button now. Because what happens next will make you believe in fairy tales again. They walk from that grand hall, out into sunlight, into a future they'll build together. And behind them, even Margaret Whitmore watches with something like respect. Because they did what she couldn't. Fought for love, and won. The villagers cheer as they pass. Because authentic happiness is infectious. You are everything, Thomas whispers. And Isabella believes him. Finally, but their greatest adventure? It's just beginning. Next, the ending that will make you cry. Happy tear. Sometimes, love doesn't just find us, it creates us. 6 months later, picture this scene, a wedding in the village square, not grand, not noble, but real. Isabella, radiant in simple white, not because she's perfect, but because she's perfectly herself. Thomas, beaming with peace. Finally home, in his own heart. The villagers, they've gathered to celebrate, because this love lifted their entire community, showed them that worth comes from character. Even Lord Whitmore stands witness, learning slowly to value daughter over status. But Margaret Whitmore, she's notably absent because some people can't bear others' happiness. And that's perfectly fine. Isabella speaks her vows with voice that carries across the square. Strong, clear, certain. I choose you, not because you complete me, but because you see me completely. Thomas responds with words that heal old wounds. I choose you, not to replace what I lost, but to build what we'll find together. Their kiss, it's tender, grateful, full of promises. They'll actually keep. The feast, it's simple. Bread they baked, wine they shared, joy they earned. But here's what makes me cry, happy tears. Watch Isabella teaching the baker's daughter to read. See how naturally she nurtures. Watch Thomas planning expansion of village school. See how leadership flows from service. They're not just married, they're partnered. In purpose, in growth, in love, that builds things. Their home, it's small, but welcoming, filled with laughter, learning, the sound of people becoming their best selves. And late at night, when they whisper in darkness, we are enough, Thomas adds. And they are. Sometimes, the greatest victories are quiet ones, personal ones. The choice to love yourself enough to accept love from others. Are you crying? Because I am. Watching someone learn to see their own worth through loving eyes. It never gets old. Subscribe for more stories where love transforms the impossible, where people become who they're meant to be. Share this with someone who feels unseen, who needs to remember that they're enough, that love is always possible. Because beautiful souls like you understand that the best love stories aren't about finding someone, they're about finding yourself worthy of love. Next week, another story of becoming, another journey from broken to beautiful. I am enough. Picture this. A Georgian duchess stands in her wedding chamber. Candlelight flickers across silk wallpaper. Her trembling hand conceals a dagger behind white glove. She whispers to herself, tonight, I will destroy him. But wait, you're about to witness something extraordinary. What you're about to see will change how you view love itself. Let me pause this moment, right here. She's raising that blade. Her heart pounds against her corset. One strike, and her revenge is complete. But here's what's beautiful. By the end of this story, her heart will betray every oath of vengeance she's ever made. So how did she get here? How does a duchess, raised on silk and etiquette, end up plotting murder on her wedding night? The answer will break your heart, then heal it completely. She blames him, the Duke of Ravenshollow, for destroying her family. Her father died in debtor's prison. Her mother wasted away from grief, all because of him. Or so she believes. But here's where it gets incredible. The man sleeping peacefully in that four-poster bed might be completely innocent. Have you ever sworn you'd never forgive someone, and then discovered everything you knew was wrong? Comment below, because that's exactly what's about to happen. She lifts the dagger higher. Moonlight catches the steel. Her breath comes in short gasps. But then, he stirs. Open those gray eyes, and says the words that shatter everything. I've been waiting for you, Catherine. Not the Duchess. Not your Grace. Catherine, her real name, the one she's hidden for 5 years. Her weapon trembles. Because in his voice, she hears something impossible, tenderness. Like he's been protecting her name all this time. What? She whispers. He sits up slowly, never taking his eyes from hers. I know who you really are. I know why you're here, and I know you deserve the truth. The dagger slips from her fingers, clatters to the marble floor. Everything she thought she knew, everything that drove her to this moment, is about to crumble. But here's what's magical. When her world falls apart, it makes room for something beautiful, something neither of them expected. Love. If you've ever felt betrayed, if you've ever carried rage that consumed your heart, you need to hear this story, because what happens next proves that sometimes our greatest enemy becomes our greatest love. Hit that like button if stories about transformation speak to your soul, because this duchess is about to discover who she really is inside. She stares at him, this man she's hated for years. But looking into his eyes, she sees her own pain reflected back. The letter, she breathes. You know about the letter. He nods. I've known since the day we met. Her knees buckle. She sinks into the velvet chair. Then why? Why didn't you? Because, he says gently, you needed to discover the truth when you were ready to hear it. Comment below, would you have his patience? His mercy, because what he's about to reveal will change everything you think you know about honor, about forgiveness, about love. The Georgian marriage chamber feels charged with electricity. Outside, London sleeps. But in this room, two wounded souls are about to begin healing each other. She looks at the dagger on the floor, then at him. I came here to destroy you. I know. His voice breaks slightly. And I'm going to help you do it. Her eyes widened. What? Destroy the man you think I am, so you can meet the man I really am. Stay till the end, because the shocking twist no one predicts will leave you sobbing happy tears. This is their story. The story of how revenge became redemption. How hatred transformed into the deepest love. Are you ready? Because once we begin, there's no turning back. Let me tell you about Lady Catherine Ashford. That's not the name society knows her by. To the ton, she's the mysterious Miss Delacroix. French nobility, refined, perfectly composed at every ball and soiree. But that's her mask. Every morning, she wakes in her modest rooms near Grosvenor Square, pulls on silk gloves to hide work-worn hands, practices her French accent in the mirror. Then she steps into society and pretends to be someone else entirely. Can you imagine carrying that burden? Comment if you've ever felt like you were living someone else's life, because her story will speak to your soul. Picture her at Lady Pemberton's ball. Crystal chandeliers cast light across marble floors. She glides between conversations. Smile perfectly, curtsy precise. Miss Delacroix, Lord Hartwell bows. Another enchanting evening. Indeed, she replies in a flawless French accent. But inside, her heart screams the truth. She's not a French nobility. She's Catherine Ashford, daughter of a ruined baron, living on borrowed identity and burning rage. Every night, she returns to her room, locks the door, lights a single candle. Then she pulls out the letter. Her father's final words, written from Fleet Prison. The letter that reveals everything about the Duke of Ravenshollow, about how he destroyed their family. She reads it, memorizes every word, then holds it to the flame, watches the edges curl, turn black, crumble to ash. But she never burns it completely, always pulls it back at the last second, because that letter is her only proof, her only weapon. If you've ever felt invisible in a crowded room, hit like, because despite the attention, the compliments, the dance invitations, she feels utterly alone. She dances, smiling, while inside she screams. The minute steps are precise. 1, 2, 3, turn, bow. At each movement, each gracious nod, is calculated revenge. Every smile she gives a gentleman, every laugh at their jokes, builds her reputation, gains her access, brings her closer to him. The Duke. See, here's what's beautiful about her character. She's not naturally vengeful. Before the ruin, she was gentle. I love poetry. Spent hours in her father's garden. But grief, it changes people. Transforms soft hearts into steel. Her mother used to say, Catherine, your heart is too tender for this world. Now she whispers to herself, good, tender hearts feel nothing. But that's where she's wrong, because of the tenderness. It's still there, buried, waiting. She carries letters from creditors, bills her father couldn't pay, debts that followed them beyond the grave, each one signed, by order of his grace, the Duke of Ravenshollow, or so she believes. The truth, oh, the truth is so much more complicated. But she doesn't know that yet. All she knows is that her father died calling the Duke's name, begging forgiveness for some unknown sin. She opens her jewelry box. Inside, her mother's ring, the only thing of value left. She holds it to the light, remembering her mother's words, someday, you'll understand that love is worth any sacrifice. Not anymore, she whispers. Because Catherine has made a different choice. Vengeance over love. Justice over forgiveness. She spent 2 years building this identity. Learning French phrases, studying noble mannerisms, creating the perfect track. And it's working. The Duke has noticed her. Started attending the same events. Their eyes meet across ballrooms. Soon, very soon, she'll be close enough to destroy him. Hit like if you've ever felt unseen in your own story. Because everything is about to change for her. She doesn't realize that when she finally meets him, really meets him, everything she thinks she knows will shatter. The girl who died with her father is about to be reborn. But first, she has to fall apart completely. She stands at her window. Look out at London's gaslit streets. Somewhere out there, he sleeps peacefully, unaware that his destruction approaches on silk slippers. Tomorrow, she whispers to her reflection. Tomorrow, I begin. But tomorrow will bring something unexpected, something that will crack her armor, something that will remind her her heart was made for love, not vengeance. She lifts the letter one more time, her father's desperate handwriting. His final words about honor, about truth, about forgiveness. For the first time, she wonders, what if there's something she doesn't understand? She shakes her head. No. I know what I saw. I know what he did. But doubt, once planted, begins to grow, and doubt will save her soul. She blows out the candle. Tomorrow she meets her destiny. The question is, will she recognize it when it arrives? Now let me tell you about Alexander Blackwood, the Duke of Ravenshollow. You think you understand powerful men? This one's different. By day, he commands respect in Parliament, signs legislation that affects thousands, manages estates spanning 3 counties. But every midnight, he kneels alone at his brother's grave. I failed you, Marcus, he whispers to the headstone. I failed you, and I failed her. Her, always her. The ghost that haunts every decision. You're probably thinking, what drives a man to this kind of secret pain? Share your guess in the comments, because the answer will surprise you. See, Alexander never wanted to be Duke. That honor belonged to Marcus, the golden son, the beloved heir, the brother who could charm anyone, the brother who died trying to save someone else's honor. Alexander runs his fingers over the carved marble. Marcus Blackwood, beloved son, died too young. But the inscription doesn't tell the whole story. Doesn't mention the duel, the dawn mist, the pistol shot that changed everything. Doesn't mention that Marcus died, protecting a lady's reputation. A lady named Catherine Ashford. That's right. The connection runs deeper than either of them knows. Alexander rises slowly, brushes mud from his knees, pulls his greatcoat tight against the October wind. Tomorrow, he has duties. Always duties. Estate meetings, tenant concerns, parliamentary sessions. But tonight, he grieves. He appears untouchable, but inside, he is breaking. The servants think he's cold, distant. They whisper that his heart is made of ice. If only they knew, his heart burns with guilt so fierce, it threatens to consume him. Because he carries a secret. A promise made to a dying brother. A vow that binds him, even. Find her, Marcus had gasped. Blood on his lips. Find Catherine. Tell her I'm sorry. Tell her, it wasn't her fault. 5 years. Alexander has spent 5 years searching, following rumors, chasing shadow. Catherine Ashford vanished after her father's death. No trace, no trail. Like she never existed. But Alexander knows she's alive. Knows she's hurting. Knows she probably blames him for everything. And she should. Because in a way, he is responsible. He returns to Ravenshollow House. Gas lamps flicker in the windows. Servants have retired. The mansion echoes with emptiness. His study, lined with leather books he never reads. Brandy he barely touches. Letters requiring responses he dreads writing. He sits at Marcus's desk. Still Marcus's, even after 5 years. Open the locked drawer. Pulls out a miniature portrait. Catherine Ashford at 17. Painted the spring before everything went wrong. Before the scandal. Before the duel. Before the deaths. She's laughing in the portrait. Eyes bright with innocence. The girl she was, before life taught her to hide. Where are you, he whispers to the painting. He doesn't know she's been right under his nose. Doesn't know that Miss Delacroix, the mysterious French beauty catching everyone's attention, is her. He doesn't know she spent 2 years learning to hate him. What he does know is that he failed his brother, failed to keep his promise, failed to find the one person who might understand Marcus's sacrifice. The guilt, it's killing him slowly. He pours brandy. Let it burn his throat. Tries to forget the weight of the title. The expectations. The loneliness that follows him like a shadow. People see the Duke, the power, the wealth, the estate. They don't see the man who talks to his dead brother every night, who carries shame like a stone in his chest, who would give everything to undo the past. But then, something shifts. At Lady Pemberton's ball, he sees Miss Delacroix, standing near the windows, moonlight in her dark hair, something familiar in her profile. His breath catches. Because for just a moment, she looks like the girl in the portrait. Impossible. Catherine Ashford disappeared. Probably married, living quietly somewhere far from London. But still, he can't stop staring. She turns. Their eyes meet across the ballroom, and something electric passes between them. Recognition, attraction, or something deeper. He doesn't know yet. But for the first time in 5 years, he feels something other than guilt.
Hope.
Dangerous hope that maybe, just maybe, his search is over. He starts walking toward her, heart pounding like a schoolboy's. Palms are actually sweating beneath his gloves. When was the last time a woman affected him this way? When was the last time he felt anything? She watches him approach, chin lifted, eyes challenging, like she's daring him to disappoint her. Little does he know, she's already decided he will. But here's what's beautiful. Sometimes the people we think we can't trust become the ones who save us. Tomorrow night, they'll dance, and everything both of them believe will begin to crumble. Are you ready to watch two broken souls find their way back to wholeness? Because that's exactly what's about to happen. The Pemberton ballroom sparkles with 1,000 candles. Silk gowns rustle across polished marble. The orchestra plays Beethoven while London's finest waltz beneath crystal chandelier. But none of that matters, because Alexander is walking straight toward Catherine. She sees him coming, tall, commanding, gray eyes fixed on hers with an intensity that made her breath catch. This is it. The moment she's planned for 2 years. Her heart pounds, but she tells herself it's anticipation. Finally, she'll meet her enemy, face to face. He stops before her, eyes with perfect precision. Miss Delacroix, may I have this dance? His voice. Oh God, his voice. Deep, warm, nothing like the cold monster she imagined. She curtsies. Your Grace, I would be honored. The moment his gloved hand touches hers, everything changes. Have you ever felt time stop when eyes met? Tell me about it in the comments, because what happens next will give you chills. He leads her onto the dance floor. The waltz begins. 1, 2, 3, turn. 1, 2, 3, spin. But neither of them is thinking about the steps. You're new to London, he says quietly. His breath warms against her ear as they turn. Oui, she replies in her practiced accent. From Provence originally. Leah, her heart whispers. But she ignores it. France is beautiful, he says. Though I imagine nowhere is as beautiful as seeing it through your eyes. She almost stumbles. Because that's not what she expected. Not a cold calculation, not aristocratic arrogance, genuine warmth. Your Grace flatters me. Alexander, he corrects gently. Please, Alexander. She spent so long thinking of him as the Duke, the enemy, that hearing his name humanizes him in a way that terrifies her. They spin again. Her silk skirts flare around his legs, his hand at her waist, steady, protective. Tell me about Provence, he says. More lies required. But as she spins fiction about lavender fields and sun-warmed stones, she finds herself describing the garden at Ashford Manor instead. There were roses, she says softly. My father loved roses. The pain in her voice is real, too real. Alexander's eyes soften. You miss him every day. Death, she says quietly, teaches us that love never truly dies. It just changes form. She looks up sharply. Because there's grief in his voice too. Fresh grief. Like he knows exactly what loss feels like. This isn't right. He's supposed to be heartless, cold, the monster who destroyed her family without a second thought. But the man holding her, guiding her through the waltz, has kind eyes, sad eyes that have known sorrow. You speak as one who understands loss, she whispers. We all have our graves to visit, he replies. The music swells, other couples whirl around them, but it feels like they're alone in the ballroom. Miss Delacroix, he begins, then stops, studies her face intently. What is it? You remind me of someone very dear to me. Her blood turns to ice. Does he recognize her? Is this all a game? Is he playing with her the way a cat plays with a mouse? But no, the confusion in his eyes is genuine. Like he's trying to solve a puzzle he doesn't understand. Perhaps, she says carefully, we knew each other in another life. Perhaps, he spins her again, pulls her slightly closer than propriety allows. Though I think I would remember meeting you. The waltz ends. They stop moving, but his hands don't leave hers immediately. Walk with me, he says quietly, please. The terrace, it's beautiful in moonlight. This is perfect, exactly what she planned. Get him alone, make him trust her. But as he leads her through French doors onto the stone terrace, her hands are shaking, and not from the cold. The October air is crisp. London spreads below them, gaslit and mysterious. They're alone except for distant music drifting from the ballroom. Better, he says, breathing deeply. I confess, I find crowds suffocating. Even though you command them, he laughs. Actually, I laugh. Command is an illusion, Miss Delacroix. Most of the time, I'm simply trying not to disappoint too many people at once. Honesty. Vulnerability. Everything she didn't expect. She studies his profile in the moonlight. Strong jaw. Noble bearing. But also, wariness. Like he carries the world on his shoulders. It must be lonely, she finds herself saying, being responsible for so much. He turns to her. Yes, it is. The admission hangs between them. Raw. Unguarded. But tonight, he continues, I don't feel lonely. Her heart does something dangerous. Something that threatens every plan she's made. It softens toward him. No, she can't let that happen. This man, this charming, lonely, vulnerable man, destroyed her family. Didn't he? Your Grace. Alexander. Alexander. His name feels dangerous on her tongue. May I ask you something? Anything. Do you ever regret decisions you've made? Actions that hurt innocent people? Something flickers across his face. Pain so deep it makes her chest tighten. Every day, he whispers. Every single day. The confession is so raw, so broken, that tears spring to her eyes. This can't be right. The man who ruined her father wouldn't feel remorse. Would he? He reaches up, almost touches her face, then stops himself. Forgive me, you bring out confessions. I usually keep locked away. Perhaps, she says shakily. Some confessions need to be spoken. Perhaps they do. Someone is watching them from the ballroom windows. Catherine catches movement from the corner of her eye. A figure in shadow, taking note of their intimate conversation. Tomorrow. This will be gossip. The Duke of Ravenshollow, enchanted by the mysterious Miss Delacroix, perfect for her plans. But terrifying for her heart, because as Alexander takes her hand to lead her back inside, she realizes something horrible. She's starting to care about him. And caring about your enemy is the most dangerous thing of all. The collision moment is complete. Two people who should hate each other, discovering they might feel something else entirely. When have you felt instant recognition with someone? Share your story below, because these two are about to discover their connection runs deeper than either imagined. 3 weeks pass like a fever dream. Alexander courts her properly, calls at acceptable hours, brings flowers chosen specifically for her, white roses that match her evening gloves. But it's the improper moments that steal her breath. Come, he says after a perfectly respectable tea with her fictional chaperone. Let me show you the library. The Ravenshollow Library. 3 stories of leather-bound wisdom. Tall windows overlook gardens where peacocks strut across manicured lawns. This is enemy territory. She should be cataloging weaknesses, searching for secrets to use against him. Instead, she finds herself enchanted. Byron, she breathes, running fingers along gilded spines. Wordsworth. Keats. You love poetry? The question catches her off guard. Because Catherine Ashford loved poetry. Miss Delacroix should probably prefer French literature. Oui. Poetry speaks to the soul, no? Indeed. He pulls down a volume. This was my brother's favorite. Brother. He's mentioned Marcus several times, always with that same shadow of grief. Tell me about him. Alexander's face transforms. Pain and love warring in his expression. Marcus was everything I'm not. Charming, brave, beloved by everyone who met him. He opens the book. He died 5 years ago. A duel. Catherine's blood freezes. 5 years ago. The same year her father died. The same year. A duel over what? She whispers. Honor. A lady's reputation. Marcus couldn't bear to see innocence destroyed by gossip. Her knees nearly buckle. Because she knows this story. Lived this story. Marcus Blackwood died defending her honor after rumors spread about their friendship. Died because people whispered she was his mistress. Died because the lady, she manages. What happened to her? Vanished. After her father's death, Marcus loved her, I think. Wanted to marry her. Make the gossip irrelevant. His voice breaks slightly. Instead, he died for her. And she disappeared like smoke. Oh God! Oh God! He's talking about her. About Marcus dying for her reputation while her father died in prison, and she grips the bookshelf to steady herself. Are you well, Miss Delacroix? Liar. The room is warm. He's beside her instantly. Hand at her elbow. Eyes concerned. Perhaps some air. The gardens are beautiful. She nods. I can't speak, can't process what she's just learned. Marcus died for her. Marcus loved her. Marcus. They walk through French doors onto the terrace. October roses still bloom in defiance of approaching winter. Miss Delacroix. Catherine. He called her Catherine. Her real name, just slipped out naturally. She freezes. What did you say? Forgive me. You remind me so strongly of someone. He studies her face intently. Catherine Ashford. The lady Marcus died protecting. The world tilts. She can't breathe, can't think. He knows. He's known all along. This has been some elaborate game, and you look exactly like her, he continues quietly. Same eyes. Same way of tilting your head when you're thinking. It's uncanny, but there's no calculation in his voice. No triumph. Just wonder. Confusion. He doesn't know she is Catherine. He just sees the resemblance. This Catherine, she whispers. You cared for her too. I never met her. But Marcus. Marcus would speak of nothing else. Her laugh. Her kindness. How she saw beauty in everything. His voice grows distant. I searched for her after his death. I wanted to tell her it wasn't her fault. That Marcus chose to defend her honor. That she shouldn't carry guilt for his choice. Catherine's world crumbles completely. Because everything she thought she knew is wrong. Marcus died defending her honor. Alexander searched for her out of kindness. Her father. What about her father? She asks, shakily. Baron Ashford? A good man destroyed by bad investments and worse advisors. Marcus tried to help him. Offering loans. Support. But pride. Alexander shakes his head. Pride killed him as surely as any disease. Loans? But I thought, what did you think? She almost reveals everything. Almost screams the truth. That she is Catherine Ashford. That she spent 2 years plotting his destruction based on lies. But fear stops her. Because if she's wrong about his guilt, what else is she wrong about? Nothing, she whispers. Just tragic stories always affect me. He moves closer. So close she can see gold flecks in his gray eyes. You have the kindest heart, he says softly. Like her, like Catherine. Then he does something that destroys her completely. He touches her face. Gentle, reverent. I think I'm falling in love with you. The confession hangs between them. Honest, vulnerable. Everything she's dreamed of hearing. From the wrong man. Or is he? Alexander, she breathes. I know it's too soon. Too fast. But when I look at you, I see possibilities. Hope, things I thought died with Marcus. She's crying, actually crying, because this beautiful broken man, this man she came to destroy, is offering her his heart, and she's built her entire identity on hating him. I should go, she whispers. Should you? His thumb traces her cheek. Or should you stay, and let me tell you all the ways you're extraordinary? Would you risk everything for love? Comment below, because Catherine is about to make the choice that changes everything. But before she can answer, footsteps crunch on gravel. They spring apart, guilty, breathless. Your Grace. Lord Pemberton approaches with a knowing smirk. How intimate. Catherine's blood turns to ice. Because Lord Pemberton is exactly the kind of man who trades in gossip, who destroys reputations for sport. Pemberton. Alexander's voice goes cold. Bickle. Miss Delacroix and I were discussing literature. Literature, of course. Pemberton's eyes glitter with malice. Though from here, it appeared you were discussing something far more personal. Your imagination exceeds your manners, Alexander says icily. The damage is done. Tomorrow, whispers will spread through every drawing room in Mayfair. The Duke of Ravenshollow, compromising Miss Delacroix in his own gardens. I should return to the house, Catherine says quietly. Allow me to escort you, Pemberton offers with false gallantry. Alexander steps forward, protective. That won't be necessary. Oh, but I insist. After all, a lady's reputation is so fragile. The threat is clear. Play by his rules, or face social destruction. Catherine's hands shake as Alexander escorts her back inside, because she's caught between two disasters. If she continues the charade, she risks exposure. Discovery. Alexander learning she's the woman who came to destroy him. But if she stops, if she disappears again, she loses any chance of learning the truth about her father's death. Worse, she loses Alexander. And despite everything, every lie she's told, every moment of deception, she's falling in love with him too. What would you sacrifice? For justice, or for love? Share your thoughts, because Catherine is about to discover she can't have both. Not unless she's brave enough to risk everything. On the truth. The blackmail letter arrives 3 days later. Catherine stares at the elegant script. Her hands shake as she reads words that destroy everything. Miss Catherine Ashford, or should I say Miss Delacroix, your little masquerade ends now. Meet me tonight. Midnight. The ruins of St. Bartholomew's. Come alone, where all of London learns your true identity. A friend. Everything you thought you knew was wrong. She burns the letter immediately. But the words burn deeper than flame. Someone knows. Someone has been watching, waiting. The question is, who? She paces her small rooms. 3 steps to the window. Turn. 3 steps to the fireplace. Turn. Going could be a trap. Staying means exposure. Either way, her carefully constructed world crumbles. But there's something else. Something that terrifies her more than blackmail. Alexander. Because 3 days ago, in that moonlit garden, she saw truth in his eyes. Heard pain in his voice when he spoke of Marcus. Of her father. Of searching for Catherine Ashford out of kindness. What if everything she believes about her father's death is wrong? The clock chimes 11. Decision time. She pulls on her darkest cloak, checks her father's letter. Her only proof is secure in her bodice. Then she steps into London's fog-shrouded streets. St. Bartholomew's ruins stand like broken teeth against the night sky. Medieval stones crumble beside newer headstones. Perfect place for secrets, for revelations that change everything. She arrives at midnight, exactly. Footsteps echo from the shadows. Punctual. I admire that in a woman. The voice familiar, cultured. But wrong somehow. A figure emerges from behind a weathered monument. Top hat, silver-headed walking stick. Face she recognizes from a dozen society gatherings. Lord Pemberton. Her blood turns to ice. Indeed, though I prefer Uncle Henry. The world stops. Uncle Henry, her father's brother. The man who disappeared after the funeral. The man who claimed poverty prevented him from helping with debts. Impossible, she breathed. Oh, quite possible, my dear. Though I must say, you've grown into a stunning woman. The Ashford beauty runs true. Her legs nearly buckle. You're alive. You let me think that I was dead, bankrupt, unable to help poor Catherine in her time of need. He laughs. Cold, cruel, necessary deceptions, I'm afraid. Necessary for what? Revenge, my dear child. Beautiful, profitable revenge. He circles her like a predator, can tapping against ancient stones. You see, your father was a fool. Generous to a fault. When he inherited Ashford lands, he should have consolidated, maximized profits. Instead, he improved tenant housing, reduced rents, played gentleman farmer while opportunity slipped away. Catherine's heart pounds. He was a good man. Good men die poor, Catherine, and I refuse to let Ashford wealth die with him. The pieces click together. Horrible, inevitable. The debts, she whispers. You created them, forged them, he corrects pleasantly. Amazing what a few doctored ledgers can accomplish. Your father, trusting soul, signed whatever I placed before him. Loans that didn't exist. Investments that were fabrication. She can't breathe, but the Duke of Ravenshollow, his signature, also forged, though considerably more challenging. Alexander Blackwood has such a distinctive hand. Everything crumbles. Every belief, every moment of hatred. Alexander never touched our family's finances. Never. In fact, he tried to help, offered genuine loans. When rumors of your father's troubles spread, your father, proud fool, refused assistance. Catherine sinks against a weathered headstone. Then why did you let me believe? Because, my dear, you are the perfect weapon. He produces a document from his coat. Official seals. Legal language she recognizes. Marriage contract. Between Catherine Ashford and Lord Henry Pemberton. Her blood turns to ice. What? Arranged by your father years ago, before his death, a guarantee that Ashford properties would remain in family hands. His smile is reptilian. Technically, you've been my betrothed for 5 years. That's impossible. My father would never. Your father was desperate, Catherine, facing ruin. I offered salvation for a price. He shows her the signature, her father's hand, shaking, defeated. But he died before the marriage could take place. And you vanished so completely. It took me 2 years to track down Miss Delacroix. Horror washes over her in waves. You've been watching me all this time, following your charming romance with Alexander. Quite touching, really. 2 wounded souls finding solace in each other's arms. You're sick. I'm practical, you see. Alexander Blackwood is worth $30,000 a year. His estates border Ashford lands. A marriage between you would unite the properties, making me, as your guardian and husband, quite wealthy indeed. The trap reveals itself completely. Elegant, ruthless. But you won't marry him willingly, so I'll simply arrange circumstances that force his hand. What circumstances? Scandal, my dear. Glorious, reputation-destroying scandal. He pulls out a small bottle. Clear liquid. This little concoction, slipped into his brandy, will leave him quite compromised. You found in his chambers, reputation in tatters, marriage the only solution. Catherine's blood runs cold. You're talking about rape? Oh, my dear, such harsh words. I prefer to think of it as aggressive courtship. She lunges for the bottle. He sidesteps easily. Younger. Stronger. Now. Cooperation, Catherine. Or I simply reveal your true identity to the tone. Miss Delacroix, the fraud, the fortune hunter, will be destroyed socially. And you'll have nowhere to run. I'll tell Alexander the truth myself. Will you? And explain how you've spent months lying to him. Deceiving him, using false identity to infiltrate his life. His laugh is poisonous. Men like Alexander, they value honesty above all else. He'll never forgive the deception. The words hit like physical blows. Because they're true. Alexander's honor, his integrity. He would see her lies as the deepest betrayal. Choose, my dear. Marry me willingly. Keep your secrets safe, and I'll ensure Alexander never learns the truth. Or refuse, and lose everything. Your identity, your reputation, your chance at love. Has someone ever shattered your world with truth? Share below, because Catherine's about to face the hardest choice of her life. She looks toward London's lights. Somewhere, Alexander sleeps peacefully, trusting, believing in Miss Delacroix's honesty. If he learns the truth, that she's Catherine Ashford, the woman he searched for, the woman whose lies brought them together, will he forgive her? Or will the deception destroy any chance of love? I need time, she whispers. You have until tomorrow night. The Harrington ball. Decide by then. Or I decide for you. He melts back into shadow, leaves her alone among the grave, alone with the devastating truth. The person she hated never even existed. The person she loves might never forgive her for who she really is. And the person threatening everything is family. Sometimes, the people we trust most are the ones who betray us deepest. But sometimes, love is stronger than deception. The question is, will Catherine find the courage to find out? Catherine doesn't sleep. How could she? By dawn, she's made her choice. The truth, no matter the cost, no matter the consequences. Because lying to Alexander, even to protect him, feels like dying slowly. She pulls out paper, ink, begins writing the letter that changes everything. My dearest Alexander, there are things you must know, things I should have told you from the beginning. I am not Miss Delacroix. I am Catherine Ashford, the woman you searched for, the woman whose lies brought us together. And I am desperately, hopelessly, in love with you. Her hand shakes as she seals it. But for the first time in months, she can breathe freely. No more masks, no more deception, just truth, and hope that love conquers all. She sends the letter by morning post. Then waits. The hours crawl by like years. Every sound, every footstep might be his response. At 3 o'clock, a knock. She opens the door with trembling hands. Alexander stands in her doorway, still, silent, the letter crushed in his fist. Is it true? His voice, barely a whisper. Every word. He steps inside, closes the door, leans against it like he needs support. Catherine Ashford. He says her name like a prayer, like a curse. You're alive. I'm alive. You've been here, in London, for 2 years. Yes, lying to me. Every day. Every moment we've spent together. The pain in his voice breaks her heart. Alexander, I searched for you. His eyes are wild with grief, with betrayal. 5 years I searched, wanting to tell you Marcus didn't die in vain, that you shouldn't carry guilt for his sacrifice. I know that now. But you already knew. You knew and let me search. Let me grieve. Let me blame myself for failing to find you. She can't argue, can't defend herself. Because he's right. I thought you had destroyed my father. You thought I was a monster. His laugh is bitter. So you came to destroy me in return. Yes, the admission hangs between them. Raw, honest, devastating. Did you succeed? He asks quietly. Because it feels like my world is ending. Tears stream down her face. Alexander, please. Please, what? Please forgive you. Please pretend the woman I fell in love with actually exists. She does exist. She's me. The real me. When I'm with you, I'm more myself than I've ever been. He turns away, studies her modest rooms, the simple furnishings, the life she built online. Show me, he says suddenly. What? Your father's letter, the proof that convinced you I was guilty. With shaking hands, she retrieves the letter from her jewelry box. The paper, worn from years of reading, years of hatred. He takes it carefully, reads slowly. His face goes white. Catherine, his voice breaks. This signature, it's forged. I know, Uncle Henry told me. He's the one. Uncle Henry? Alexander's head snaps up. Henry Pemberton? You know him. He's been trying to purchase Ashford lands for years. I refuse to sell. Knew your father wouldn't want. Alexander stops, studies the letter again. This is his work, his handwriting. I'd stake my life on it. He wants to force me into marriage. Control the inheritance. He's planning to. She can't say it, can't voice the horror of his plan. Planning what, Catherine? To drug you, compromise us both. Force marriage through scandal. Alexander goes very still, very dangerous. When? Tonight. The Harrington ball. He crumples the letter slowly. Then we stop him. We? You think I'm letting you face this alone? He moves toward her, eyes blazing. You think your lies, your deception, matters more than your safety. But you can't forgive me. You said. I said I felt like my world was ending. And it is. He reaches for her hands. The world where I was alone, where I carried guilt for failing Marcus, where I searched endlessly for a woman I'd never find. Her breath catches. That world is ending, Catherine, and I'm grateful. You forgive me? I forgive you. More than that, I understand you. You were protecting yourself, your heart. After everything you'd lost, trusting anyone was terrifying. The tears come harder now. Relief, joy, love so fierce. It threatens to consume her. I love you, she whispers. I love you so much it terrifies me. Good. He pulls her closer. Because I love you too. Not Miss Delacroix. Not the mask you wore. You, Catherine Ashford. The woman brave enough to survive everything, and still open her heart to love. He kisses her then. Soft, reverent, like she's precious beyond measure. What do we do now? She asks, against his lips. Now, we go to the ball, together, as ourselves. But the scandal, let them talk. Let them whisper. I'm the Duke of Ravenshollow, and I'm proud to claim Catherine Ashford as my Duchess. If you believe people can change, if you believe love conquers lies. Hit like right now. There's more, she says quietly. What? Uncle Henry, he has a marriage contract. From my father, he claimed. Forge. Alexander says immediately. Like everything else. Your father, Marcus told me, wanted you to choose your own path. Would never have arranged marriage without your consent. How can you be certain? Because Marcus asked your father for permission to court you. Properly. Honorably. Your father agreed, if you were willing. His voice gentles. Marcus died believing someday you'd choose to love him. He never would have stolen that choice through arranged marriage. Another layer of deception crumbles. Another lie exposed. Tonight, Alexander continues, we end this. Together. How? By telling the truth. All of it. Let society know exactly who Henry Pemberton is. What he's done. How he's manipulated you. They'll blame me for the deception. Some will. Others will see what I see. A woman who survived impossible circumstances, who protected herself the only way she could, who found the courage to love, despite everything. Are you sobbing happy tears like I am? Because watch what happens next. He takes her face in his hands. Catherine Ashford, will you marry me? Not for scandal, not for convenience, but because I cannot imagine living without you. Yes, she breathes. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Finally, they are brave enough for the truth, and the truth sets them both free. The Harrington ballroom glitters with anticipation. Word has spread. The Duke of Ravenshollow will make an announcement tonight. Society expects engagement news. What they get is so much better. Alexander and Catherine enter together, his Duchess on his arm, her real name announced for all to hear. Lady Catherine Ashford and His Grace, the Duke of Ravenshollow. The whispers start immediately. Confusion, recognition, scandal. But Alexander doesn't care. Neither does Catherine. They have each other. They have truth. Everything else is just noise. Lord Pemberton, Uncle Henry, watches from across the room, face pale with rage, with defeat, because his plan, his perfect manipulation, lies in ruins. Ladies and gentlemen, Alexander announces, Voice carrying across marble floors. "You have the honor of presenting my betrothed, Lady Catherine Ashford." Gasps. Murmurs. But also applause. Because love stories, real ones, touch something deep in human hearts. "Some of you," Alexander continues, "may know Catherine as Miss Delacroix, a necessary deception to protect herself from a predator." He looks directly at Pemberton, a man who forged documents, stole inheritance, manipulated grief for profit. The accusation hangs in perfumed air. Pemberton tries to protest, but evidence speaks louder than denials. By midnight, he's fleeing London. Reputation destroyed. Schemes exposed. Justice served with love's own hand. Catherine and Alexander dance their first waltz as engaged couple. No lies between them, no masks, no deception, just truth, just love, just promise of forever. "Are you happy?" he whispers against her ear. "Deliriously," she replies. "Though I still can't believe you forgive me." "Forgive you? Catherine, you gave me the greatest gift." "What's that?" "Hope, purpose. A reason to believe love conquers all." He spins her beneath crystal chandeliers. "Besides, I rather enjoy being married to a woman clever enough to fool all of London. Even me, especially you. Sometimes, love doesn't find us. It creates us. Creates the people we're meant to become. The courage we never knew we had. The hope we thought was lost forever." Smash like if love stories give you hope. Comment which moment broke your heart the hardest. Because this Duchess discovered something beautiful. Revenge may feel powerful, but love transforms even the darkest hearts, even the deepest wounds, even the most impossible dream. Their biggest adventure is only beginning, and it starts with choosing love over fear every single day. Are you crying happy tears? Because I am. Hit subscribe if stories about healing speak to your soul, because love always wins. Always. If this story reminded you that people can change, that love heals everything, that second chances are worth fighting for, then this community is for you. We believe in transformation, in growth, in the beautiful messiness of becoming who we're meant to be. Comment below. Which character's journey touched you most? Catherine's courage to trust again, Alexander's patience in the face of deception, or their mutual choice to love despite fear. Share this with someone who needs to believe in happy endings, who needs to know that broken hearts can heal, that lies can become truth, that vengeance can transform into love. Because that's what we do here. We celebrate the beautiful possibility of human hearts, and we never, ever give up on love. See you in the next story. Beautiful soul.